Hello, I'm Mr. Moody, the head teacher of Oak Park Grammar School, and it's lovely to have this opportunity to talk to you about our plans for your son's arrival in September. Obviously, things are very different from what they normally are. By this time last year, we would have met with all our parents of the new Year 7 pupils, and we would have had a taster day for your son as well. Unfortunately, some things are beyond our control. Therefore, we want to, in this presentation, talk you through some of the plans and procedures that we hope will make your son's arrival in September as comfortable and supportive as possible. In this presentation, you'll hear from Mrs. Lewell, Deputy Head Teacher who oversees Year 7, Miss Beanie, Director of Study for Year 7, who's also Senko, and Mr. Keeling-Jones, who's the Senior Pastoral Leader. Already, we hope that you have accessed the material on our school website about transition. I also know that some of the boys have had an opportunity to speak to Miss Beanie and other staff via Microsoft Teams in their primary school settings. We also have uploaded onto our Twitter feed a film that shows you the main parts of the school that your son will use. Clearly, transition from Year 6 to Year 7 is probably one of the most important aspects of your son's educational journey, and we want to make this as painless as possible. In order for it to be successful, it's very clear that this is a partnership between the school, home, and of course the student. First of all, the school. Oak Park Grammar School is a selective boys' school. We have a curriculum that is demanding and challenging, where all students do the EBAC course, that's English, Language and Literature, Mathematics, Triple Science for the vast majority of students, a modern foreign language and either history or geography, plus some option subjects. I make no apologies for saying that as a grammar school, our aim is to ensure that when your son leaves the school at either Year 11 or Year 13, he has achieved a crop of top quality qualifications, high grades of 7 and above. In addition, we're also conscious that we are very privileged to have some of the most able students nationally after passing the Kent tests. So we therefore want our curriculum and our teaching to be challenging, interesting and innovative. In return, we expect you as parents to support us by ensuring that your son arrives to school every day ready to learn with the right equipment, that he has completed all his homework to the best of his ability, and that you support the ethos of the school, which is to create an exceptional learning experience for all members of the school community. And to the boys themselves, my mantra is to make the most of your time with us. Don't look back in Year 11 and regret that you haven't made the most of the opportunities that you've been given. We want you to aim high, to get top grades, to be successful in your talents, be it sporting or art or music or drama. There's a range of opportunities for you to make the most of your talents, boys, and don't miss those opportunities. Somebody once said that the definition of a genius is 1% genius and 99% perspiration. So we'll expect you boys to work hard, but in return, you will get a lot out of it. What underpins all of this is our values as a community. We have 3 words that you will hear a lot of: kindness, respect, and tolerance. And we expect all of our students and our community every day to show kindness, respect and tolerance to one another. I think never has this been a more appropriate time for us to really enforce these values. Go the extra mile really means that in order for us to be successful, all of us have to be prepared to put in a lot of hard work and not just go through the motions. So as a staff, we all work hard and do our best to support your son through every stage of his career at the school. As parents, we would expect you to offer the same level of commitment. And finally, of course, for the students, as I've already said, be prepared to go the extra mile and make the most your talents. And lastly, trust us. We're all very experienced at dealing with pupils, particularly boys, and we know the stresses and strains that sometimes exist. But if you support us, we will do our very, very best to ensure that your son has 7 really happy years with us. Thank you for listening to me. I'm now going to hand you over to my colleagues who are going to talk you through how we induct your son into Year 7.
Hello, I'm Mrs. Law, Deputy Head Teacher, and part of my role is to work closely with Miss Beanie in her capacity as Director of Study for Year 7 and SENCO, and I oversee the work of the Learning Support Team. I'll be talking through details about the Year 7 curriculum and how we can work together to support your son with his learning at Oakwood Park Grammar School. Our curriculum from Year 7 through to Year 13 is designed with the intent to give all students at OPGS an exceptional learning experience. We aim to stretch and challenge students to enable them to become independent learners and thinkers. We have very high expectations of our students in terms of their effort and commitment, and we guarantee to support them fully on their journey through the school. Our lower school curriculum focuses on the Big 5: literacy and numeracy, academic rigour, stretch and challenge, resilience, and personal development. And through the teaching of a broad range of subjects, we aim to provide students with high levels of skills, knowledge and understanding to achieve an excellent set of GCSE grades. The subjects included in our Year 7 curriculum are a core of English, Maths and Science, 2 languages, French and Spanish, humanities, geography, history, religious studies, computing, creative subjects, art, drama, design technology, food technology, music, physical education, PSHCEE, personal social health, citizenship, and economic education. Our whole school enrichment programme provides students with a wide range of experiences, including visiting speakers, volunteering opportunities, educational visits, and sporting activities. There are normally 10 enrichment days across the year, and these are days when the timetable is collapsed and students undertake a range of activities to broaden their learning. We have, however, made an adjustment for next year so that we can maximise teaching time in terms 1 and 2 to get back on track from lockdown. So there will be 5 enrichment days next year, starting in January 2021. A big strength of OPGS is that we work very hard to get to know all of our students as individuals, and this starts with the transition process from Year 6 to 7. Part of the transition process involves staff visiting your son at his primary school. And these visits haven't been possible this year due to lockdown, but Miss Beanie has made contact with your son via Teams meetings in school or at home in order to find out more about your son in terms of his strengths and interests and to answer any questions he may have. This has proved a valuable exercise, but we're very much looking forward to meeting the boys in person in the new academic year. Once your son starts the school in September, Miss Beanie, the form tutor and subject teachers will support your son on a day-to-day basis. And some students will need additional support for a range of different physical and emotional reasons for the whole or part of their time in this school. And they will be supported so that they can deal with their challenges and fulfill their potential. We have a small, very experienced and very dedicated learning support team who work closely with teachers, students and parents to develop personalised strategies for Year 7 students to meet their needs. Miss Beanie is Director of Study for Year 7 and the designated SENCO. Miss Worrell is our Learning Support Manager. Miss Friday is our Year 7 Administrator. And the team provides a wide range of support, for example, dyslexia support, mentoring for organisation and anxiety, mindfulness, handwriting, social skills. We have a committed sixth form mentoring team who offer academic support for students, building their confidence in subjects that they find more challenging. A key factor in enabling students to do well is to maintain an excellent attendance record. And this is something we feel strongly about at OPGS, and we ask for the support of parents and carers in helping their sons to maintain a very good attendance record and raise their chances. Parents can help by talking to their sons regularly about school so that any worries are quickly identified, being particularly watchful and supportive in the run-up to tests and assessments, and only granting days at home for genuine illness. Please phone us as soon as possible to tell us why your son is absent and when you expect him to return. And please do not book holidays in school term. Term dates are all on the school website. We don't authorise holidays regardless of length in term time unless the circumstances are deemed exceptional. Please talk to us to resolve issues. We will be able to support you and your son. We want to work in partnership with you and your son over the next 7 years to ensure the best possible outcomes.
Hello, I'm Mr. Keeling-Jones and I'm the Senior Pastoral Leader at Oakwood Park Grammar School. I'll be working with Miss Beanie to help make your time at school as good a learning experience as possible. In order for this to happen, you would need to fulfil a number of expectations, both in school and whilst at home. So let's start with the classroom. Firstly, we would expect you to listen. Staff will be providing instructions during your time in the classroom. Listening will help ensure you know what you are doing. You must also listen to one another. This is just as important as we all learn from each other. Everyone's viewpoints are important and they will all provide valuable learning experiences. Listening will also allow you to participate fully in the lesson and therefore provide you with a great opportunity to learn. Secondly, fail to prepare, prepare to fail. You'll enjoy a number of quotes during your time at Oakwood Park Grammar School. But what does this actually mean? Well, you must make sure you have all the equipment you need to allow you to learn effectively. This includes your stationery. You can't write without a pen. You can't draw graphs without a pencil. You need your books, folders, exercise books, calculators, and let's not forget PE kit, music equipment, drama equipment, art, design, and cooking. All things you'll be doing with us at Oakwood Park. Without any of these things, you would struggle to be able to fully engage in the lesson. Finally, you need to be prepared to work hard. To gain the most from your time at Oakwood Park Grammar School, you need to ensure that you're putting maximum effort into your time with your studies. Things may not come easy all the time, but working hard, things will improve and you'll be maximising your learning experiences. Check out our top tip on the PowerPoint for an idea that will help you with your time in the classroom. So, what do we expect of you for your homework? It will be expected here at the school, and what it is for is to allow you to build on or prepare for the experiences that you've had in or going to be having in the classroom. So therefore it is important for us to get into good habits from the start. So what can we advise to help with this? Well, firstly we would say that you need to do homework where possible on the night that it is set. Why, I hear some of you ask, you might have a long deadline to it. Well, the reason for this is you maximise your time you have to complete it. And if you find that you're struggling with something, you can then have time to go and find your teachers and you can ask for support prior to that deadline. We would hope that both parents and the students use EduLink, okay, which is where staff will record all your homework. At times, extra details may have also been provided on that, and they will also be provided to the students in their class. So we do need to check your books or handouts to make sure they have a full understanding of the work that's going to be expected of them. It will allow you to monitor what's going on, which will help you plan your time effectively at home, making sure that you're getting a good work-life balance, but also making sure that you're completing that work to a high standard and, as we've said, so it is done on time. It should be noted at this point that some of the homeworks you might be set are project style, so as I say, they do have a lengthy deadline. So you would have the information on EduLink and it will give you that time deadline that you need. So you need to make sure that you're planning that time across the number of homeworks that it could be on to make sure that that work is complete. So this is what you're going to see on EduLink. Every student will have a list of work that should be completed. When it was set, you will see that it has the subject, the title of the work, and as I say, the deadline, and how many days you have to complete that work in. This will allow parents as well as the students to see what the work is, what has been completed by their son, and importantly, what is also outstanding. If you're able to get to grips with the EduLink early, it will allow people to really plan their time at home. As I say, we want a balance between school learning, home learning, and obviously time to recharge the battery. So if you do this work, it will not be rushed, and then you will have a decent, high level quality piece of work to hand in to the teachers. So, what's the expectation of our uniform? Well, we hope all students will be happy to adhere to the expectation that we have. We know sometimes they try to like to personalise things. There's a number of things that you need to be making sure you're doing as a member of the Oakwood Park community. Full uniform, that's a must. You need to be making sure that it is neat and tidy at all times. This does include travelling to and from the school. Your uniform is something that you really should be proud of. That badge on your blazer and your house ties, both in and around the school, are things that you should be happy to show off. They are well known within the community, and they are linked to students who are kind, respectful and polite at all times. You're not permitted to be wearing jewellery, and you must make sure you have proper school shoes. So that means no black trainers. So please make sure you go out and find some decent shoes to be wearing to and from school. You must make sure your hair is not of an extreme style. So that does mean no mohawks, no grade 1s, and definitely no blue rinses. Whilst you are allowed longer hair, you must make sure that this is neat and tied back at all times. All your school items should be brought to school in a bag. You need to make sure that bag is big enough to carry A4 items. You want to make sure that the folders, the books, the exercise books you have aren't having corners bent and ruined to make them untidy and messy. We need to make sure the bag is big enough so it doesn't damage what you are carrying. So make sure that you've got that bag. You must also make sure you label absolutely everything. Now, that does mean your socks as well. You'll be amazed how easy it is to misplace something or get it mixed up with someone else's. If it is named, it isn't easy to return to its rightful owner. Whilst this will also save your parents money, they would need to replace them if we didn't get them back. And speaking as a PE teacher, you cannot imagine how many times some of the boys replace their items because they have left them somewhere or left them in the change room. If they're named, then you will get those returned back to you. So please make sure you look at naming everything. My penultimate slide is one to introduce you to some of the words that you'll hear mentioned and you will see in and around the school. It's something we think you should all adhere to. And these are kindness, respect and tolerance. They're three words that are extremely important to the culture of Oakwood Park Grammar School, and we do expect all students to adhere to them at all times. These three words outline how we feel you should behave towards each other, your staff, families and members of the general public. Think about how you would want to be treated. Would you like what others maybe do to you? Would you like if others were unkind, disrespectful or intolerant to you? How would you behave if you had your parents or teachers sat on your shoulder at all times? If you wouldn't do what you're going to do, then maybe you shouldn't be doing those actions. As I've mentioned, Oakwood Park Grammar Schools are well known in the area as kind, respectful, tolerant and polite. Therefore, remember, when you're in your uniform or at a school function, you are ambassadors of the school. You're ambassadors of all 1,000 students that we have there. When you're in school, you should follow the rules and guidelines whilst fulfilling the expectations set out to you in these earlier slides. This includes travelling to and from school. We know that public transport can become extremely busy and overcrowded, but you must also remember that it is public transport. There will be other members of the general public using them. They want to see polite, respectful, kind, tolerant boys behaving in the right way on those buses. They don't want to be disrupted or disturbed for their day-to-day things. You will be sent and receive a homeschool agreement. This is a document for you to look through and it indicates what types of things we expect of you. It indicates what you should be doing as a student of the school. It will give you some outlines of how we would like the parents to support us and how the school will look to support your sons at Oakwood Park Grammar School. We've got to remember, we are a community. One person's actions will reflect other people's, and we hope that you'll be able to enjoy and follow those three terms: kindness, respect and tolerance. So this brings me to my final slide. The infamous smartphone and the social media conversation. We all know smartphones and social media are continuing to grow in this world, and they become even more important over the last few years and the last few months, especially with what has been going on with the pandemic. We all know they have their place, but we also there needs to be some self-control and monitoring of what is happening on them. Phones are an integral part of our lives, and they're extremely handy for safety, to be able to communicate important information to others, to be able to contact people, and at times they could be requested to be used to look for things, research things. So we need to make sure that, yes, if we have them, they're only being used for the right things at the right time. For example, WhatsApp can be a great way to communicate between form groups, asking what homework's been set if a student's been off ill and it's not yet up on EduLink, asking for some help from some of their colleagues in their form group, checking whether it's a non-school uniform day in case some of us have got aren't quite able to remember what's going on. However, they do also open the door to the groupthink mentality, people jumping on a bandwagon, and that can lead to sources of unkindness, disrespect and intolerance. So we need to make sure that if we are utilising anything, we are doing it in the right way. We know as well that there are times that students want to take silly photos when they're out of the school. They might want to video something to keep for memories, but it's about what they do with those things. If they're looking to put them up on social media, if they're looking at passing them around to other people, that's when we could potentially find problems. It may be funny at that moment, however, certain things could lead to comments being made, people taking the mickey, and if we go to the extreme, many forms of bullying. Something that we want to try and avoid. So, again, we need to make sure that if we are using our phones and we have links to social media, we need to make sure we're using them in the correct way, thinking of those three words: kindness, respect and tolerance. If smartphones are required, we need to make sure that during the school day they're not out unless asked by a member of staff. We need to make sure that they're being used in the correct way, as I've already said. Remember, as I say, if you would not like it to happen to you, then others would not like it to happen to them. Also, you need to remember that many of the social media apps have age guidelines. These are in place for a reason. So please make sure that you follow those guidelines. Consider how and when they should be used. And to finally state, again, phones and social media, we must make sure we use them in the correct way at all times.
Hello, my name is Miss Beanie. I'm Director of Studies for Year 7 and I'm also SENCO. You've possibly seen me walking around the school on the virtual tour of the school which we sent out to you last week, and I met lots of you on the open morning way back in October when you came for a look round. My role as Director of Studies has got two main parts to it. Initially, at the start of the term, I'll be making sure that your son gets settled in. There are a lot of boys who are joining us from their primary school, and they're the only student who are coming to us from there. Please don't panic if this is the case. I spend a lot of my time hanging around the lunch hall, walking around the school, making sure that all of the Year 7s have got some friends to talk to and introducing boys to each other. That role develops as we go through the year, so I spend quite a lot of time helping boys work out where they need to be, where they need to go, what they need to bring, and just generally how to find their way around the school, and also making sure that the teething problems that our Year 7s have get ironed out reasonably quickly. Further on in the year, it's my responsibility to monitor the academic progress and social development of your son, and I work together with subject teachers, form tutors and parents to monitor the well-being and progress of our pupils. I work quite closely with students. They'll get to know me quite well, and I help to raise their aspirations and their attainment. So how do I monitor the academic progress of the children in Year 7? At Oakwood Park we use something called monitoring grades, and these are broken down into attainment and effort. In terms of attainment, this is judged on a criteria based from 9 to 1, with 9 being the highest and 1 being the lowest. This is similar to the new GCSEs which started a few years ago, only we have a bespoke criteria for each year group. We would expect all students to be aiming for at least a 7 by the end of Year 7. Parents, when you did your GCSEs, they were probably graded A star to C. A good rule of thumb for thinking about this is that a 9 is a A star plus and that a 6 is a high C. In terms of effort, teachers will judge where your son has been put based on a few different things. It will be his homework record, the quality of the work that he produces in terms of presentation and the amount of work they feel that has gone into it, and his behaviour in lessons. All of that will get summed up into excellent, good, requires improvement, or unacceptable. Letters home will follow the monitoring grades. So I produce a piece of analysis which looks at who our students who are achieving particularly well are, or who are working particularly hard, or perhaps who've improved since the last set of monitoring grades. And we will send letters home congratulating them, and there's sometimes certificates in assembly too. Students who are cause for concern, we would make contact with you so that we could help you raise your son's attainment or effort, and we could look at what needs to be done for him to improve. There are also 2 parents' evenings each year. One of these takes place in November, where you get to meet all of your son's subject teachers and find out how he's settled in, and a second one in June to see how he's progressed over the whole year. Form tutors play a key role in the pastoral support provided at Oakwood Park. They register pupils twice a day, every day, and those registration periods are 25 minutes long for both of them. So they really do spend a lot of time with your son and get to know him very well. They work closely with you as parents and the pupils, and they help me to monitor the academic and social attainment of the students as well. Form time activities are designed for pupils to work together as a team, develop their presentation skills, bond as a form group, particularly in Year 7 when they're all getting to know each other. And there is also some quiet reading time when form tutors can work individually with students to help them with any issues they might be facing. The form tutor is the first point of contact that you need to go to if your son is experiencing any difficulties in school, as they really are the person who will know your son best. So as I say, the form tutor is the first point of contact with any communication that you would like to take with the school. They can answer your queries, they can support your son with any issues he might be having, particularly if they're with liaising with other members of staff, things like that. And they know your son really, really well. If you want to contact any member of staff in school, whether it's myself, the form tutor, or maybe a subject teacher about a specific subject related issue, then mark them for the attention of the name of the person you're trying to contact. The school office are very, very good at directing mail to the right person so that you get a prompt response to your query. If you've got any absence notifications, so if your son perhaps is unwell, you need to let the school office know. That can be by email or by phone. Mrs. Friday, the Year 7 administrator, is really, really very good at answering queries for parents as well. So if you give her a ring in the school office, she usually knows exactly what's going on. Under normal circumstances, our taster day would have taken place on Thursday the 9th of July. And I'm really sad that we don't get to meet all of our new Year 7 intake on this day. Instead, we've proposed a virtual taster day, where you'll experience 5 virtual lessons in English, Maths, Science, History and DT. These lessons are optional, but we will have prizes for good work in September, so please do email in to the school office with any work that you complete for this virtual taster day. They don't have to be completed on Thursday the 9th of July. We know a lot of our boys are currently in school. But what I've said to the boys when I've met with them in our virtual meetings is maybe save them for a wet Wednesday afternoon in the holidays when you've got not a lot else going on, and it'll give you a real flavour for what to expect from a Year 7 lesson. If you get bored in the summer holidays, we also have some enrichment activities which we've published on our website, and the URL is on the screen at the moment. Many of our students travel to school by bus. The KCC Travel Saver Bus Pass is probably the best option. It costs £350 for the year, and you can spread that cost if you pay by direct debit. The price comes down to £100 if you're eligible for free school meals. Students can receive a free pass if they are young carers, are in care, or if you are applying for more than 2 full cost passes in your family, you can get the 3rd or the 4th pass for free. There's loads more information on the website, and the URL for that is on the page now. Currently, applications are suspended, and the website suggests that these are likely to open in mid-July. There's also detailed advice on the website if you're uncertain about whether you need a pass given current situations and whether your son might be travelling on buses at all. Please do go and have a look if you're not sure. Some of our boys travel to school by train, and you may find that monthly or weekly season tickets in combination are going to be cheaper than an annual one. In addition to this, you may also need a bus pass. For more information about this, there's loads of information on the railway website. If you're planning to drop your son off by car, then please do that at a nominated drop-off and pick-up site away from the school. We have limited parking on site available on the hard court across the road, but it does get very, very busy on campus with all 3 schools and the college dropping off and picking up at similar times. If your son is planning to cycle to school, please could you provide your own padlock for the rats and wear a helmet. Lights are needed in the winter. If your son is cycling, parent permission form must be signed and returned to the school in the first few days. Students who walk to school must remember to stay safe. There is a pedestrian crossing on the Tunbridge Road. Please discuss this with your son and encourage him to use it. On the screen now are some key dates for Year 7 next year. The first item on the list, the Parents' Information Evening, on Wednesday the 2nd of September. We are hoping to have all of you in the hall so that we can meet you face to face. Obviously, we'll follow all of the most recent government guidance, and if social distancing measures allow, this event will take place. We'll let you know nearer the time whether this will happen. On Thursday the 3rd of September, this will be the first day for your son to come into school. On that day, we're having Year 7 only in school so that we can really get a chance to meet the boys properly, get them settled in, set up on all of the IT systems that they're going to need to be able to use, and they can find their way around the school without the hurly-burly of all of the other year groups moving around at the same time. On Wednesday the 9th of September, our school photographers will be in to take all of the boys' photographs. This means you'll be able to get a nice photo of your son wearing his shiny new uniform, which will get sent home for you to purchase if you want to. First set of monitoring grades will be issued on Friday the 13th of November, and this is followed up quite quickly with a Parents' Evening on the 23rd and 25th. We split the year group into 2 by form group. One of those evenings 3 forms will attend, and on the other evening 2 forms will attend. This means that hopefully you will get a chance to speak to all of your son's subject teachers. You book your own appointments for this using our online EduLink system, and I'll let you know when booking opens for this. Unfortunately, as different staff attend on different evenings, it's not possible to switch between the 2. The second and third set of monitoring grades come out at the end of February and the end of May respectively. The third set there have a Parents' Evening afterwards in the same way as we did before. It will be split across 2 evenings, and the dates for those I will be able to confirm once the examinations timetable has been finalised. I look forward to meeting all of you in September, and I hope that your son enjoys his time at Oakwood Park.
Thank you to my colleagues for their presentation, which I hope you have found useful and informative. And of course, if you've got any questions before September, please do email the school office. I'm really looking forward to seeing the boys in September. And for me, education is about making memories. It's really important that in September we give our students the opportunity to feel confident and secure in their new school setting, and for them to really have the opportunity to fulfil their potential. Thank you very much, and I look forward to meeting parents and students in September.